You love comparisons, we love comparisons. Today I'm putting two fantastic guitars to the test. We're going to compare Taylor's venerable 414 CE with Furch's green GCSR. Stick around. Hey, you're watching Alamo Music TV. My name is Chris McKee with Alamo Music in San Antonio, Texas, and you can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you're new to our channel, subscribe, turn on notifications, like our videos. If you want to support the channel, visit our spring store link below for custom swag, and check out our podcast, the Fretboard Confessional, wherever you get your podcasts. Our latest episode should be out. Cooper and I talk about our trip to see Furch in the Czech Republic. We had, spoiler alert, a wonderful time. Loved everybody. You know, the guitars are amazing. The family's even better. So make sure that you check out that podcast. We break down the factory for you and all of the food as well. I wanted to do this comparison because these are both killer, fantastic guitars with a very popular tone wood combination at a certain price point that a lot of people are trying to stay in. So as we said at the onset, today's comparison is going to pit against each other this Taylor 414 CE and the Furch green GCSR. Let's talk about the Taylor first. These are pretty close in price, but, which is often the case, the Furch's a little less expensive by, I think, about $600 or $700. It does not have a pickup, so keep that in mind as we go through this demo. The 414 CE got a revamp. Geez, time flies, doesn't it? Tempest Fusion. I want to say it was probably a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, that it kind of got a revamp with this new aesthetic choice with the burst that's going on. But the 414 is a classic combination that's been around for a while. In this particular case, it is now spruce, rosewood back and sides, classic clean white plastic binding, ebony fingerboard, ebony bridge, this beautiful mother of pearl inlay and rosette. You got a tortoiseshell style pickguard, ES2 pickup system, 1 3/4 inch nut width, great playability, comfortable all mahogany neck, ebony headstock overlay, tuner in mother of pearl or Taylor logo mother of pearl chrome tuners, and it comes with a hard shell case. It's a really great guitar. The GA body, the Grand Auditorium body from Taylor, has been its most popular body, I think, since it was introduced in 1994, I believe. And now this year they're celebrating 50 years, which is nothing to sneeze at. They've been building guitars for a long time and really making efforts to just consistently make the guitars better. And that means sometimes pushing against what's traditional in order to do what they think is better. Some of those changes include thin necks, bolt-on necks, V-class bracing, even changing up and making their own proprietary pickup system. And they've done that against a lot of pressure in the market, and so you really have to applaud them. They continue to make fantastic playing and sounding guitars. This 414 CE is very much the same. It has great playability, it sounds fantastic, and given the price point that it's at, it's giving you a lot for the money. Let's look at the green GCSR and kind of look at a similar thing that's going on with Furch. I love Furch's story. Just to rehash it briefly, František Furch started it in 1981 behind the Iron Curtain under socialist Soviet rule in the Czech Republic. And he was a banjo player in playing bluegrass. And I recently learned on our trip that the Czech Republic has like the second largest number of bluegrass musicians outside of the United States. And you might ask yourself, why? Well, that's when they were under oppressive Soviet rule. This was like a protest. An American form of music, bluegrass, was embraced. And I just love that. But they needed instruments. And what was often the case back then was kind of a cottage economy grew out of necessity of people needing things. And František was a machinist who decided to illegally start building guitars for the other musicians who were playing this bluegrass music. And I love that. Fast forward, and Petra, his son, has taken over the reins of primary ownership, and František is there as well. They're building really fantastic guitars. They are also pushing the envelope. I think taking a lot of inspiration from Taylor. You can respect tradition, but you don't always have to follow tradition, and you can continue to work on improving the way that guitars are built, not just consistency, but the methods by which they're built, and pushing that envelope to make things better and better and better. And they are doing that. So it's really cool to see these guitars with a lot of you who are in our audience finding homes and finding a fan base. When we first started carrying Furch, I said at the onset, it feels to me like a brand similar to Taylor in the 90s, where really great guitars are being built. And if you can realize it and kind of get in now, get in early, be part of the club that knew ahead of time, because I continue to see their growth, particularly in the United States. So let's talk about this green. If you're not familiar with the way that their system works, Taylor has a numbering system where you have like 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900 series guitars. As you go up in number, the price goes up, the appointments go up, and so forth. What Furch does is they have effectively kind of two lines of guitars. They have a vintage line, and then they have their colored series, which is where this falls in. The colored series would be the modern guitar series. And those are violet, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. And then their custom program is rainbow, which basically says you can get all of this other stuff in it, is the implication. So this is a green, and I'm comparing it to a 400 series because price-wise and spec-wise, that's about where it sits. So you can kind of create some correlation. It doesn't always track because like they don't have a standard series right now with maple, so there's not like a 600 series alternative, so to speak, to give you an idea. Same thing with Koa. You can get a Koa guitar. We've featured a Koa guitar from Furch through the Rainbow series on this channel, but it's not part of a standard series from them right now, if that makes sense. So green would be the series that this is in. GC is the body shape, so this is a Grand Auditorium as well, cutaway, and then SR is the tone woods. In this particular case, it's spruce and rosewood. So that's the way that you would read a Furch model designation. Now this one, as I mentioned at the onset, does not have a pickup in it. Pickups are available. The most common pickup that Furch offers is usually the Anthem, either in its normal setup where you can have the sound hole controls, or they also offer the Stage Pro, which allows you to have a preamp in the side with all the controls right there. But this, no pickup. You can choose to have a pickup installed in it. We can do that for you. You can choose whatever pickup you prefer, and we can make recommendations for you. But the rest of the specs are going to be very similar. It's a spruce top, rosewood back and side, Grand Auditorium, cutaway, still 1 3/4 inch nut width, similar scale length, ebony fingerboard, ebony bridge. In this case, very simplistic, very small dot inlays, which I really like. Mahogany neck, and like the Taylor, the fit and finish is fantastic. The playability is fantastic. Really, there's nothing that you can see on either of these guitars that would detract in any way from the quality that these manufacturers produce. Now, since it's not a Taylor and they have proprietary bracing and V-class bracing, this has Furch's scalped X bracing pattern. But there's something that you should also know. Furch has a proprietary voicing that they do. Now, on our trip, we got to see a lot of cool things in the factory. That is one thing that Petler would not show us, how they go about doing that. They have wonderful neck reinforcement with their CNR system here that extends under the fingerboard and makes sure that you have an adjustable bolt-on neck that has a straight neck all of the time, no hump at the 14th fret, similar to the Taylor's bolt-on neck. Without the shims that they follow, this is a little more simplistic in the way that it bolts, but can still be reset with a lot less drama than you have with a typical glued-in neck joint. So I always want to point that out because these necks are very, very stable. The action's very good, just like that. But whatever they're doing with their voicing, if I could get back to that, is really bringing life to these guitars. The bracing is scalped X bracing, but I really would love to like sneak in there sometime and just see what they're doing because these guitars are very, very resonant. There's a liveliness to them that I really like. And it, like I said, it plays fantastically. So I'm going to shut up. We're going to listen to the demo. I played the same thing on both of these guitars, so take a listen and hear for yourself. So there you have it, the comparison between a 414 CE, I could say CER, which is what the designation would have been on a lot of 414s fairly recently. 414s used to have oval callback and sides, then they offered oval call or rosewood, now it's just rosewood. So for all intents and purposes, 414 CE, and then the green GCSR from Furch. I think those are both fantastic guitars. I think they both play great, and I think they both sound fantastic. They both come with hard shell cases. And like I said, this one that I'm holding in my hand does not have a pickup, but a pickup is available and would add a few $100s to the price. Now that still means that this green, all things being equal, costs hundreds of dollars less than the Taylor. And the question that I have for you to pose is, which would you prefer? Is this a good value? Is the Taylor still a better guitar? Do you have a preference either way? I'd love to hear in the comments below. Here's where I stand on it. I think they're both fantastic guitars. I think they both play great, and I would take both home. I own a number of Taylors. I own other brands. I don't currently own a Furch. I am going to add one to my collection, particularly after our trip out there. I was very, very impressed. But I think this might pose an interesting conundrum to people who are looking for a guitar in this price range. And price range is basically $3,000 and under, roughly speaking, is where they currently are. I should say you should check our website at alamomusic.com for the latest pricing, because it seems to always be changing. But both of these guitars are at or under $3,000. Right now, the green is less expensive than the 414 CE. Made in the Czech Republic, made in the USA. Both phenomenal builders. One definitely a much bigger builder than the other. But you know, they're fantastic guitars. So cast your vote in the comments below, or with your credit card at alamomusic.com. You can add both to cart and check out. But no, seriously, I'd like to hear your opinions and thoughts, and I'd love to hear what other comparisons you would like for us to do between Taylor and Furch or anything else. So let us know. If you haven't done so, like, subscribe, follow, and we'll see you next time.